Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with the FX Market Insight for the 17th of January. All right, now this is a real test of patience here at the moment. I mean, I mentioned it yesterday. You just got to wait for the major key events to really kick in, and that's when we'll see the currencies really kick into gear. Now, sterling was the major focus. You can see obviously the price action before the vote, after the vote, and then since. It's just locked into a sideways battle as we try and work out what's going on with sterling. Now, that has ramifications for the dollar index, of course. Not massive like the euro, but the euro itself is still sort of dribbling lower. It's starting to trade sideways, but it just looks like it's ready to go. We're just waiting for that final push from the US dollar would be where we need to get it. Aussie, it's actually gone to sleep. Looks like it's under sedation at the moment. No real movement. If anything, it's just starting to drift a little bit lower. Kiwi, touch softer, but once again, now we've got this new low. I've started drawing in that new support line, but it's still pretty fickle at this stage. And dollar yen, the beast, starting to trickle up and starting to unwind a bit of that safe haven play. Oil back to $52. It hasn't really done a lot for dollar CAD. It is just trading sideways through that resistance line as well. So as you can see, most of these currencies are just lacking serious momentum. Sterling, I think, will be on hold. To me, I mean, I know euro lacks momentum, but it's still just got better shape. We've got the economic numbers out of Europe being weak, and then we've also got the US dollar being quite steady there as well. So if I just come across, just give you a look at the what the news services are sort of touting about the place. This is a tough time for these companies like Bloomberg, Reuters, or any sort of journos trying to think up better options for what's already been said 3 or 4 times. Hopes of soft Brexit. This whole Brexit thing, as we've seen over the last 12 months to 2 years, has just been a debacle. So don't take anything, or take everything with a grain of salt, I should say. But the rest of the news here, it's just all global news. There's a G20 on. The US, now that vote is out of the way in the UK Parliament, we're starting to see a bit more stuff about the US government shutdown, Pelosi trying to sort of delay the State of the Union. Well, I can't see Trump doing that. He's not exactly sensible. But basically the news services, as far as news goes, is empty, right? There's no fundamental news. There's no economic numbers to really focus on there as well. And that's going to keep traders on the sideline for now. If you look at just have a quick sort of snapshot across the other sort of markets. Equity markets, well, slightly up, if anything. NASDAQ was slightly down. So you'd expect at this stage, with no fresh news on China or the US trade deal, okay, and dollar China now sort of finding fair value and sitting around 6.76 and trading sideways. I can't see anything really happening at this stage to really ignite the session. Now, you've got the dollar index. So it's just trading sideways. And now a lot of traders are starting to try and ask me, is the dollar going up? Well, no, it's not really going anywhere, okay? If anything, we're starting to get a good new trend lines forming there on the downside in the dollar index, but overall, it's not really doing anything. So that's what we've sort of got to look at the moment. When you're looking at your charts, you're really trying to work out, are there any good opportunities? And this really comes back to finding momentum. And there's not momentum in anything, to be honest. But what we can do is from here is try and piece together where are the fundamentals coming from, and that might be where the next sort of best trading opportunity will come from. So if I flick back over to the MyFX Trading Hub, okay, we've got, once again, still, trading conditions are pretty good. Markets are back at full liquidity. We do have the G20 on, and Kuroda, the Bank of Japan governor, is speaking at that. And then we start to finally get out of the central bank sort of focus, as in like speeches and meetings and all this sort of crap, and get into some real numbers. So US Philly Fed, you know what? I'll show you the numbers in a second. Like even the PPI numbers are slightly weaker. Not much of the fundamental releases are really having much of an impact. Then you come into Friday, you've got UK retail sales, CAD CPI, and the University of Michigan consumer sentiment numbers. So pretty thin going for the rest of the week. I'm sort of almost writing it off as far as potential opportunities, but don't turn your eye off the currencies, because when you start to think nothing's happening, that's when something could pop up. Now, why I'm sort of a bit pessimistic about anything really happening is the dollar index doesn't have really direction, and that doesn't give the other major pairs any sort of major direction either. And there's nothing coming out of Europe. Well, actually, the UK is different. Australia, New Zealand, Canada, or Tokyo at this stage to give those other currencies direction. Sterling, of course, with the whole Brexit issue, but now that's trading sideways. So I would suspect the direction there for sterling to sort of just go back to neutral. Neutral stance, not a lot of data just today, but we will have some things coming out Friday. The way the CAD's going, we could get a snapback, break back to the top side if we do get really weak CPI numbers, or we get the kick down through support. So that's probably your best opportunity. But yeah, do your analysis. If there's any opportunities, put some orders in the market. I don't see too many at this stage. And outside of that, you just got to wait. All right, guys, that's it from me. We'll see you in the 247 trade zone. Cheerio.